Hi friends, welcome back to the CNS YouTube channel. It's a rainy spring day outside and I wish we could go out and do a project outside today, but we can't because my computer is not waterproof. But we can do a nice painting for spring, and you know, in the springtime it's always so wonderful to see the new colors coming out with the flowers growing and the grass growing and the trees blossoming. So we do need this rain. So even though we can't get out, we can still appreciate what the rain does for us and the beauty that it gives us. So this is my cherry blossom painting that I did earlier today, so you can see what it looks like. I just painted a branch and the blossoms on it. I did not do the whole tree. I suppose we could have if I'd done it in this direction. Almost looks like a tree in that direction. But I just did the branch. And I did not paint the background, but you could, if you wanted to, paint the background using a mix of blue and white. And if you have white streaks in your blue, that's even better because our sky does not always look a solid blue. We always have some white, a little bit of white clouds, or just where the color doesn't shine through so brightly. So this is what our final project will look like. If you don't have paint at home, you can draw the branch with marker or with crayon. And then instead of painting the blossoms on, if you have leftover tissue paper from a birthday party or a present, you could cut your tissue paper into small squares, crumple it up, dip it in the glue, and put those on as your blossoms. So if you don't have paint, there are other ways that you can still make this pretty picture. Be creative and use what you have, right? So we recycled some of those tissue paper ideas. So this is my new paper. And I started by putting my name on it right there. And you guys can do the same, right? Practice those upper and lowercase letters on your name. And I'm gonna clip it to my easel. And I have a few different kinds of paint and brushes. I don't have any brown acrylic paint for my palette. So I have, my palette is here. I don't know if I can show that to you. I have brown tempera paint, 3 different colors of pink, a little bit of green, and yellow for a different type of plant if you want to draw a forsythia plant. So what I have right now though is I have cotton balls for my blossoms. I have a wide flat tip brush for my branch. Remember, the flat brushes make a wider stroke when we paint. And I have a couple of round tipped brushes, and these tend to make a thinner streak. So for thinner branches, wispier grasses, those round brushes work really, really well. But what I'm gonna start with, my brown. And if you had a little bit of black or black paint, or after your brown paint dries, you can add a little bit of black to your branch. So I'm gonna start on the side. And I'm gonna bring it from the left side of my paper over to the right. And as I get farther along, I'll make this branch a little bit thinner. So what I'll have to do is turn my brush on its edge and just use the very edge of it. And you can see how I get a smaller branch. But I am gonna make this part just a bit thicker. Right, so where it comes off the trunk, it's thicker. And then as I use the edge of my brush, my branches get thinner. And if this is hard to see, I will bring my paper closer. Since I'm blocking some of it, there we go. I'm just making some smaller branches off of the main branch. By using the edge. So. There we go. Right, I think that's pretty good. We can make them a little bit longer if we need to later. So we'll let that dry just a tiny, tiny bit because I don't want to mix our colors together. I know sometimes when we get to school, we like to take our paintbrush and swirl it around in the paint and get as much on there as we possibly can. We don't really need to do that. you know, in painting class or in art class with me, we talk about how we just need a little bit. We just need to dip our paintbrush in. So for our blossoms, I'm going to use a medium colored pink. And I don't have any cotton balls here at home, but I do have these pom-poms, and I put a clip on it because this one's a little bit small and I don't want to get my fingers all painted. So I have a clothespin on it, and I have my medium color pink, and I have a bigger pom-pom with a light pink on it. It's very hard to see that color. And then I have a slightly darker pink that I will use very, very little of because cherry blossoms are usually that medium pink as opposed to a really bright pink. So some of my smaller branches are dry, and I will show you what we can do. So I will dip my cotton ball into my palette and pick up some paint. Not a lot. Okay, and I'm just going to dab it on to those dry branches. Right? To where it's dry. Right? I'm not swirling it around. I'm not bringing it across my paper. Just gentle up and down motions. And if I need a little more paint, I just get it on there from my palette. And then I'll put that one down. I don't know if you can see that because it's a little bit light. Then I'm going to take some of my medium pink and put that right on top. I'm not mixing the colors. I'm not swirling them around. Right? Because then the whole tree will come out the same shade of pink. And we want a little bit of diversity in those colors, right? We want that light pink to show through the dark pink, or the medium pink, I should say. Right? We can layer the colors. Then we'll take just a little bit of the dark. Right, just a little bit of that dark. I'm running out of light pink though. Okay, so you can see where those darker colors and the lighter colors are blending, but not mixing. Because if we mix them all together, like I said, we'd only have one shade of pink, and then it would be hard to see. And you can still see my branches a little bit shining through. I'll bring it a little bit closer to the camera so you can see it. So you can see all the different shades of pink in there, the 3 different shades, and you can still see the branches growing through. So it's a nice little project for spring. And I also started a forsythia plant. Now I did use paint on this because I don't have any crayons. I think crayon looks really nice making forsythia branches, but I didn't have any. So I did use paint, and when I make flowers or plants or trees, and I always start from the bottom because that's how trees grow. They grow from the ground up. Okay. And with this chalk, it's hard to tell, but a lot of times when you use a crayon or a paintbrush and you go from bottom to top, the top gets a little bit lighter and thinner because we put less pressure on it as we pull up on that. And it makes it look very natural, like a blade of grass that's wider at the bottom and narrower at the top. So if you don't have paint, like I said, you can use chalk, you can use crayons. I wish I had some tissue paper, but I don't. So I'm going to use my yellow paintbrush, and I'm just going to use the end of it to draw or paint the blossom on a forsythia plant. But it looks really cute if you have tissue paper and you can crumple that up. It gives your picture some texture, right? It's not all flat like a painting. So as the springtime goes on, you'll see these forsythia bushes. The blossoms will drop off and the new leaves will be buds underneath, and they will turn to green. So they would come up, you know, and just have a little bit of green. But it's a little too early in the season for that. So most of them are just in the beginning stages of blooming, and they're yellow. They have these nice wispy branches with the yellow blossoms on them. So that was my painting lesson for today. I hope you guys liked it. And if you do some paintings, please show them to me either on Facebook or on Instagram, or email them to me, okay? Thanks so much. I hope you had a good time. Bye.